once again to the University of Cincinnati. Ladies and gentlemen, last week against ECU, Jordan Thompson set the school record for career kills. To honor this historic achievement, we present Jordan with a commemorative game ball. Bearcats fans, let's keep it going for Jordan Thompson, on becoming University of Cincinnati's all-time kills leader. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with our national anthem. The Star Spangled Banner is being performed today by Lawrenceburg High School junior Shannon Elison.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ramparts were singing, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now it's time for today's starting lineups. Starting with the visiting University of Central Florida Knights.
On this Friday afternoon, we welcome you to Cincinnati as the top two teams in the American Athletic Conference, an early conference test colliding here in Ohio. The Bearcats matching up with last year's regular season champions, the Knights of UCF. It is round one, the first meeting of the year between these two. Of course, we could very well see them again in Orlando in that conference tournament as well. Take a look at where we are early in conference play. These two among the 5 unbeaten still in American competition. Of course, Cincinnati and UCF sharing the talented East Division. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everyone. Lincoln Rose along with the, well, former all-everything. Probably still has some sand stuck between your toes, Adam Johnson. And AJ, I feel like we're being spoiled here, not having to wait very long to see these two teams collide.
Well, it's kind of nice to see two solid teams coming together very early in the season, right off the bat, to see what they're packing, as we always say.
Take a look at the keys to the matchup. Last year we had a couple of 5-setters between these two squads. How do the Knights find yet another victory at the expense of the Bearcats today?
Well, UCF is currently ranked second to last in the American Conference in their serving percentage. So Coach Dasnay has really been working on this part of the game, and he's really going to need it tonight to serve tough against this Cincinnati team and get them out of their offense.
As for the Bearcats, how do they find the victory here at home and defend their home court?
Well, they've been really working on their blocking. They're currently ranked last in the American Conference in blocking efficiency. So they've been making sure that they're doing this in every practice, and Coach Alvey seems to think that they're coming around, and they need to come around tonight for sure.
Well, each of these programs has a program-defining player. For UCF, it's just a sophomore in McKenna Melville, but she truly is the face of the Knights.
Well, and McKenna Melville, she's got an all-around game, spectacular. She's second overall in the conference with a kill percentage behind Jordan. So we're going to have a big thump-a-thon, if you will, tonight against these two teams. And what McKenna needs to do is just be McKenna. She just needs to play her game. She just needs to play within herself. She doesn't need to do anything more.
Well, not only the face of the Bearcats, but arguably the face of this conference over the past 5 years, Jordan Thompson among the best in the country.
And Jordan Thompson, as Coach Dagenais says, she's simply the best player in the American Conference. You know, you can't stop her. You can only try to contain her, and that's what UCF is going to have to try and do tonight in Jordan's home.
Bearcats and Knights get us started here on ADN. Opening serve next.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Lots of talk about innovation. We're over it. Time to do something. What's next? Let's build this team, launch this place, find this fix, and electrify this entire community. This is Cincinnati. And guess what?
Next lives here.
Knights and Bearcats met twice last year. Both went 5 sets, both in favor of the eventual regular season champion Knights. Lincoln Rose, Adam Johnson with you. And for the first time today, a chance to check in courtside with Betsy Ross.
Well, that's right. And the Bearcats really are trying to prove something as the UCF coach. Bearcats have the best player on the planet, at least in the conference right now, in Jordan Thompson. But the Bearcats haven't beaten UCF since their first matchup in 2017. So they'd like to forget those 5-set losses from last year and really start the slate all over in this match.
Betsy, thank you. Of course, this year, the change in the American is the fact that they have adopted a postseason tournament. And the conference tournament host is not determined by whomever wins the championship that year. It's whoever won it the year before. And so UCF, who won the regular season title last year, will host the inaugural tournament in Orlando. And it's just an interesting concept for a team to already know they have that in their back pocket and will eventually have home court advantage ahead of them. But right now, squarely focused on this regular season contest. As Cincinnati off to the ideal start in front of this lunch crowd. Bearcats picked preseason second in conference behind, of course, these Knights. As UCF attacking from right to left comes battling back.
And Moravec right here in the middle has a great turn on this quick set. Putting this ball down, no problem, past the past the Cincinnati block there.
Marissa Moravec out of Lincoln, Nebraska, known to produce a few volleyball players over the years. Con Dagenais brags on her. She's one of those student athletes committed to improving every single day, finding constant improvement. Bearcats able to get the touch and reclaim the point. A look at Jordan Thompson and her cohorts on that front line. Again, Jordan, with a season-ending injury a few years ago, allowed her to get a coach's perspective. And while you don't wish injury on a player, someone with the caliber of Johnson, you have to imagine that has only benefited her moving forward, getting that extra vantage point and perspective on the game.
Well, I haven't been in that particular situation where I've been out an entire season, but I've been out for, a few weeks. And when you're on the bench watching the game and listening to the coach and what they're saying, it definitely helps your game.
Knights trying to level this one. Serve receive for Thompson as they'll work it up front. And something you'll notice again, Cincinnati, Jordan Thompson's going to get her swings, but they're going to find a variety of other successful options, including Charbakaba, as Damiana puts this one away.
And she just pushes this ball down right in front of the defense of UCF. Nice little area to see. They got to watch that.
The Serbian, really a massive offensive presence up there at the net. Free ball. Bearcats able to put it away.
Yeah, we call that the happy birthday ball right there. The nice little pass over. You should put that ball down every single time.
You will see the smile of the Minnesota native Thompson throughout this one. And the block up front for Cincinnati. The reason for the noon start, of course, a nationally televised football game later on tonight. Didn't want to make the student body have to choose. Why not take in two great matchups? Coincidentally, both against UCF, and I'm told UCF's football program has occasionally found a little success in recent years.
They've been okay. They've been okay, and having a tough time this season, though.
Relatively, yes. As again, take a look at the Knights up front there with Anne-Marie Watson, preseason all-conference, along with her fellow standout teammate McKenna Melville, and wearing that libero top Mackenzie Connor for Cincinnati. Molly Alvey says her libero is volleyball 24/7. If she's not playing, she's got it on TV, watching any league around the world at any given moment.
And Thompson right there getting lucky, in my opinion, from my angle. Kind of looked like she set that ball. That thing was going out of bounds, but touched by UCF in the background, in the backcourt for a point.
Talking to Todd Dagenet, you see in the suit there, head coach for UCF across the way. What stood out about their clash with UCF, also here in Cincinnati last year, pointing out pretty specifically, he recalled about 27 ball handling errors, and UCF just happened to have slightly fewer whistles go against them, but not as clean of a match as you would expect, as that play and rhythm was constantly interrupted with whistles.
As long as you're coming out on top of a match like that, you're doing well.
In both matches, though, he liked the way that the Knights were able to line up their block. They'll take the point here. Dressie Pass, the freshman, as she does not get unnerved easily. One of the three setters that you could see at any given moment in this 6-2 for the Knights. What a luxury that is to have that depth. Last year, UCF ousted first round of the NCAA tournament against Florida Gulf Coast in 5 sets. Part of it, they had lost one of their setters, did not have that depth. And in a 6-2, if you don't have a third setter, you can be in a lot of trouble if you don't happen to stay healthy all year.
Well, especially if your second setter is 5-2.
As the Bearcats will get the benefit of this call. Back and forth here early on. Lincoln Rose, Adam Johnson, Betsy Ross with you here on the American Digital Network. Great to have our fall sports coverage back underway, and well, that could be yet another poster handed out on a match day with Thompson in that swing.
And we're going to be seeing that a lot today for sure.
Everybody knows she's going to get her opportunities. The question is, for the other Bearcats, who will come through as that complement? But if you're setting the Bearcats, you know you have a variety of options other than number 23. And Thompson got just enough to keep that one alive. And the Bearcats will be called, though, for violation.
It'd be interesting to see what this call is right now, because he's calling an overset when the setter is in the front row. But now they must be, it looked like it was probably a set from the libero in the front row, which you can't do.
And it'll pull UCF back within 1. The Knights this year, you saw at the start, off to a 2-0 start in conference play. Past weekend, as you noted in the keys of the match, Todd Dagenet said that they lived and died by the first ball kill percentage, but actually were pretty pleased with it. Bearcats able to put this one away off a pass down that far line.
Yeah, Maria Mallon just turning down the line hard, which is always a hard ball to defend against.
Big swing. Again, 6 rotation player in Thompson. She'll fire it through the block and ultimately find the red court below.
And that's what I really like to see with these types of players like Thompson is, you know, they make a dig, they're playing back row, yet they could still attack out of the back row, and they're ready to do so.
Talking about Cincinnati's non-conference slate, what Molly Alvey has learned about this year's group for the Bearcats. as a coach, you feel like you have to constantly remind your teams about certain things, but she's lost zero sleep about ball control and the quality of passing for this Bearcat side. It's freed up some brain tissue to think about some other elements of the game.
And this game is all about ball control. No matter what part of the game you're talking about, if you the better team, the better team with the better ball control is going to come out on top.
Service error for the Bearcats from Connor. There you see Molly Alvey. Alvey this spring had them focusing on serving, which really was an issue in the postseason. And they had the service error a moment ago.
And a great play at the net right there by Armenia Heckenmuller, just turning around, being a front row setter, knowing the pass is over and putting a nice little block up.
Heckenmuller, who's just shy of 14 assists per set, top 10 in the country. Number 23 has a little something to do with that. Big swing, block up front from the Knights, anchored by Moravec. This time to the left pin. Able to put it away with the right swing, Christina Fisher, the senior from Texas.
Yeah, Christina Fisher, excuse me, out of Austin, Texas. 4th year. I got to watch her play all during the club season too, and it's great to see her finishing out her senior year here.
Nowadays, a veteran who's really seen some battles over her 3+ seasons in Orlando. And that quick whip, the snap for the kill from the right hand of Charbakaba.
And this game is played from the middle of the court out. You get your middles going, it frees up the outside when the setters set it out there.
Serve from Mallon. Sophomore out of Michigan. Really a dynamic player for Coach Alvey this year. Cincinnati up by 4, trying to extend that lead here. Thompson just too far on top of it. And, well, is that a chance for us to talk about her vertical? May have gotten too high on that ball.
She's getting up there. She's definitely, her vertical is 36 inches at 6'4", touching 10'6". That's up there. Those are some nice heights to be able to be up at.
That time the tape got in the way. Able to dial it back a couple of notches, find success this time around.
Yeah, and you don't always have to go up and, just crush the ball. That time it looked like Thompson just took a little bit off, found a little space between the block for a point.
Both these teams have swept their way through conference so far. Hard to imagine we'll see the minimum 3 sets today. Thompson unable to put away the miscue.
Another birthday ball. Got to take care of those.
That time blew out the candle.
I will say so. That's some sort of an angle right there.
Cincinnati, the first of 15 here in this opening set. They lead by 5. As another assist for Armania Heckenmuller. In her 2nd year setting the all-everything Jordan Thompson.
It's always nice to have a player on your team like that you can go to pretty much any time.
Take a look at your head coach for Cincinnati in Molly Alvey. Again, how quickly since coming over to Cincinnati, she has climbed the charts in excess of 100 wins. And across the way, the dapper Todd Dagenet. And imagine we have a few speed readers at home. Go back on the archive. You can pause that.
Did you ever listen to Cheech and Chong?
I'm going to pretend I don't know who that is, but we won't pretend that's a segue into Todd Dagenet, now in his 12th year at the helm. He is the winningest head coach at UCF, and he is a guy who, he's thrilled the state of Florida has really grown in the sport of volleyball. Right now, though, you'll look at the roster, see just 2 Floridians. He has the ability to go around the country and find the top players and bring them to the backyard of Disney World.
But he'd actually like to get some of the girls from Florida, and keep them home, which I found in Texas, a lot of the, people want to do the same thing. So I think as his program, as he mentioned, keeps growing, you're going to see more Floridians on the team.
Obviously, their rival there on I-4, USF in Tampa, a variety of sports where they are known to be simply international with such a draw in Tampa. Now, I don't know if these two teams would list the other one as their top rival. Obviously, again, you have the two Florida schools. Cincinnati has some regional rivalries, but this has become a classic that you circle on the calendar with the implications it could have. Cincinnati very easily could have been the squad hosting this year the inaugural conference tournament. The Bearcats come out firing again, this time the kill courtesy of Adria Oliver. And again, the future is bright, just a sophomore, the transfer coming in this year, providing that balance to Jordan Thompson on the other side.
And it's always like I'll go back to it again and again. The game is played from the middle of the court out, and that was a perfect example right there, getting that middle down, so it leaves the outsides able to go one-on-one when it's set out there.
And for Oliver, she is still relatively new to the sport. Molly Alvey really believes sky is the limit for her potential. They'll go to her. Into the block, and it'll be UCF picking up the point, McKenna Melville.
McKenna Melville up on a one-on-one block. You got to love those kind of things. They're always fun because usually you have your partner right next to you, but one-on-one, somehow when you're hitting against a hitter, that even digs in them just a little bit more.
Those two sophomores are going to be going at it over the next couple of years. Melville already, again, the defining player of this UCF program as a sophomore. Coach Dagenet says a true volleyball player in every sense. It's hard to get her off that court. But it's the Knights who've been playing from behind here on the road. Thompson. Melville sending it back over for UCF. Thompson off balance, still better. And her competition on the other side of the net when she's back on a heel.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little miscue on that set right there. It might have looked like she was coming in more for a little bit of a two-set, but was pushed just outside her reach. But hey, when you're 6'4" and you've got a nice long reach, you can hit that ball soft into the block and put it down for a point.
That was a hop, skip, and a kill. Thompson right now, back row. Again, her service. They're trying to prolong it, and they will. Getting a little help from her friends up front. That time, back to Maria Mallon.
Now that's some hammer time right there. Maria Mallon really coming in on this one, getting a full swing, just crushing this ball inside the block angle for a point.
So at least you're moving up in the decades from Cheech and Chong to MC Hammer.
Can't touch this.
Thompson. Cincinnati maintaining a nice cushion here in this opening frame. Not giving up on that ball, but running out of real estate.
And you always love to see your athletes going into the stands, going over the chairs, as long as they don't get hurt, but you like to see the effort for sure.
Cincinnati hitting .440 in this opening frame. UCF just $1.54 right now. Knights need to go on a run here in this opening set. It is a UCF team, high expectations because they returned everybody except the woman in the mismatched top. Again, Pringle finally graduating after her 4 years wearing that libero top and setting every record possible for a libero. That shirt now worn by Mackenzie Kuchmaner, the transfer out of North Carolina State. And a whistle. Giving the point to the Bearcats. They lead by 7, and they are 5 points away from taking this opening frame. A little concern now for Todd Dagenet and the Knights as we are in crunch time in set number 1. So Molly Alvey, of course, you got Coach White out of Long Beach State with all of his success. Coach Carroll out of UC Irvine with their great track records, both playing and at the next level as coaches. And you love it. You love to see their ability to communicate that knowledge now to these young women.
anytime you can get that kind of level of knowledge on your coaching staff, it's a positive no matter what. One thing I'd like to see these guys start doing is maybe going out to California, doing a little more recruiting from California. They've been there, done that, so they know the people out there.
On that opposite bench, Tom Dagenais, we don't want you to overlook what happened last year. UCF, their RPI got as high as 9. They would wind up claiming a seed in the NCAA tournament. And the way he put it, again, the top of the top, the creme de la creme in college volleyball has been pretty stagnant. It's been the same teams, just a little bit of breakthrough from a few. But UCF finally pierced their way in at times among those, and that's a level, a standard they're going to look to maintain from here on out.
And like we said earlier, the more they're up at that level, the more the kids from around his Florida area will be coming to his school.
We lump that credit on the coach, but he will put it on the student athletes who have put in the work and have helped made it possible for the Knights to climb to that national stage. Again, both of these matches last year between these two teams in Cincinnati and in Orlando went the full 5. Each went in favor of UCF. That was your difference in crowning a champion last year. At the time, it was the regular season champion that claimed that automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Coaches, I believe, like that format. You truly win that title on the court over the full marathon of the season. But obviously, for the spectators, the fans, there's added excitement of bringing the best of the best all into one arena and having them battle it out over a few days. And it's good for TV as well.
I think it might be good for TV. I don't know that everybody's on board with it, because it's the same thing that's been happening in men's volleyball the last few years, which I'm more accustomed to, of course, where some of the teams, they might be the #1 seed at the end of the season. They lose in their conference thing, but they still get into the championships. You lose, but we'll see how this all plays out.
I've been seeing a lot of those Hawaiians and those folks in Long Beach. I haven't seen your Trojans as much recently.
Yeah, that's a sore subject. They'll come around. No, come on.
Even the Lewis College Flyers, I believe, last year.
We'll say they at least got into the tournament last season, whereas the season before that, I think they finished absolutely last in the country. So alumni weren't real happy about that.
American women's volleyball underway, and up at the net again, it's back to Moravec.
And that's that happy birthday ball. Sometimes you like to just see him step back and just crush his ball, but when it's easy to block it down to the open space, as long as it hits the floor, it's a point.
She has really enjoyed the nuances to blocking. Has picked up many of the finer intricacies up there with her presence, the middle blocker. She's not going to be the biggest middle blocker at 6'2", you see, but she makes the most of that wingspan. As UCF, again, still has not given up on this opening frame, back within 4. At the same time, the Bearcats 4 points away from putting this one in the books.
The game is never over, and this is like the crunch time. This is where you want to see the mental side of the game. Can we finish this game, and let's finish it now.
Bearcats have been able to stay in system for the most part. The Knights, that has been a key of theirs, is serving more consistently to keep teams out of system. But UCF's been trailing throughout this one. Take a look at our upcoming slate of fall sports, men's and women's soccer, along with top-tier women's volleyball. Well, if you like championship rematches, UCF and SMU men in soccer have gone at it in the last 2 years in the championship final. Each time SMU has claimed that automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, as we will be in Dallas on Sunday as UCF trying to find an answer in 90 minutes. Both of those matches in those championships, by the way, have gone into extra time last year's in the shootout that SMU took it all. But I just feel like we are being spoiled here in conference, getting a lot of these championship caliber clashes early on the schedule. And if you're a coach, you want to get that out of the way, get that win, and be able to build momentum from that moving forward.
Yeah, and be able to see what your team really needs to work on for sure as well. Even if you win, there's always something you can work on.
When these two teams meet again later in the year, I have to imagine they will both be vastly different in a variety of ways and much improved even from the style of play that they're successful with right now.
And Maria Mallon from the right side, just turning down the line. Kind of a look away. I'm going angle, but I'm hitting line. What a great power shot down the line.
She's at 5'9". Texas had Amy Neal at 5'9", who would go on to be the Big 12 Player of the Year and one of the top in the country. And when you don't have the built-in size advantage, it makes you be a little bit more crafty and at times better out there on the pin.
Well, you definitely have to be more of an all-around player and have parts of your game better than others, if you will. And I don't think 5'9" for a girl that has good jumps, good hops is small, but a lot of coaches do.
Thompson still playable for UCF. One more to get it back over. Cincinnati's lead down to 3. Cincinnati able to now pull within a pair of claiming this opening set, as a nice rally ultimately falls the way of the home team.
And Carolina Fauska from the right side here, finishing this off just down the line, catching the block out of bounds for a point. Cincinnati.
Fauska, one of the Norwegians residing in Cincinnati for her college ball. In Norway, you have the option. Imagine if we gave Americans the option to only go to high school for 3 years, and the 4th year is up to you. But in Norway, you can take that 4th year off to, quote, go into the real world, something some folks choose to do before starting college or grad school. But it really helped her mature, and they have seen it pay off now that she has enrolled with Cincinnati.
Isn't that, don't you do that after college? You take that year off after college before you have to go to work and find yourself?
It's been a variety of variations of that story. Back row able to come through. Opening set for Cincinnati. They dropped the 5th set against the Knights twice last year. They would like to claim it in 3 and make a quick lunch matchup of the opposing Knights. Set 1 goes the way of Cincinnati.
Undeniable.
Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Hueso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Bearcats take the opening set, hitting .471 as a group. A young woman by the name of Jordan Thompson with 7 kills, hitting .462 to help lead the way. Lincoln Rose, Adam Johnson. And Adam, sometimes I have to set to the other pin, and that, as a result, means I'm sending it over to Betsy. Betsy, go ahead.
Well, you all talked a little bit about, you talked about the football game that's going on later on tonight at 8 o'clock. Well, this is going to be affected too because we have volleyball now. After the football game, it's Bearcats Midnight Madness. They haven't had it in 15 years, but they're bringing it back this year. So the volleyball floor goes up, basketball is here. They will have Midnight Madness, and then they've got to flip it back to volleyball because they have another volleyball match against USF on Sunday. So Bill Frigge and all the facilities folks, they're going to be very busy here at Fifth Third Arena in the next 48 hours. But this is a big weekend for the Bearcats. I've seen a lot of recruits here and a lot of coaches. They're showing them exactly all the things that are going on this weekend here at Fifth Third Arena and at the University of Cincinnati.
Yeah, Betsy, that's always a fun time-lapse video to watch when the changeover crew comes into a multi-purpose venue, and what a venue this is. Still waiting for that black football field to be put down that they were threatening with on social media. It turned out not to be the case, but certainly got some feedback. This court, however, looks great. Although Todd Dagenais would like a little more gold down on the floor.
He would definitely like a little more gold. A few little mistakes in that first set, a couple setting errors, little defensive moves. Either right back into the set.
McKenna Melville led the way for UCF with her 4 kills, hitting just 214 though. The Knights hit 242. Bright spot for the Knights, 3 aces, but just not enough production. Frankly, Cincinnati grabbed an early advantage and never looked back.
And that's what you have to do, especially when you're playing a caliber team like UCF. You just got to put the pedal to the metal and don't look back.
What a treat it was to have a chance to chat with both of these coaches, such great ambassadors for the sport, let alone for their respective universities. It's easy to understand why their student athletes have chosen to learn from them over the next 4+ years. Cincinnati takes that opening frame, the inside track to this matchup here at home. Again, UCF with all their returning firepower, with the exception of libero from last year's championship squad. You can understand why they were picked by the coaches to be champs once again this year.
Not if Cincinnati has anything to say about it.
You never know who's a morning person.
I know that I had to be one this morning. My wife had to go to work at 4 a.m. this morning, so I was up at 3 o'clock. So I got caught just a bit ago.
As about to get underway with the second set. You'll understand a slightly less rowdy crowd as the very diligent students are going to class to make mom and dad happy. A few folks able to find some spare time to come over and continue to file in.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having a day match ever in 4 years.
Well, day match on the West Coast is just normal time for everybody else on the East Coast.
That's true.
It's when you have those evening matches and we're trying to tune in.
Back then we weren't on, we didn't even have internet back then.
Al Gore had not invented streaming.
Not yet. You had to make it to the finals, and then you got on NBC. Or actually it was, excuse me, it was ABC.
There were only 3 channels to choose from.
I know. Wide world of sports.
Followed by reruns of World's Strongest Man.
Yes, right afterwards. Sometimes cut in.
See if they're trying to get the rotation straightened out for both sides with these lineups. The reason for the delay, perhaps here for the start of the second set. Again, it's early for everybody. Great to have you with us again here on the American Digital Network. Love to have everybody chiming in the comments, able to reconnect with fellow fans, and you'll be able to go back and watch the archive as well. Such a great conference. So many talented volleyball student athletes and coaching staffs that we get to highlight throughout the fall. And we will have that championship in Orlando as well, wire-to-wire coverage. Aaron Olson gets things started with the serve.
Great dig there.
And, well, we saw her bring out the hammer earlier. Maria Mallon, we mentioned the 5'9" sophomore, just hangs up in the air and taps this one over the block.
Yeah, sometimes when you're playing against a team like Cincinnati and you come out hitting hard, they're playing back, waiting for that, and then all of a sudden you just throw that little tip shot right in front of them, catch them off guard.
It's a little afternoon, but are pancakes still okay?
Pancakes are always okay.
I thought so.
Midnight pancake.
That was Olson, who was doing her best to keep her serve alive. Thompson, they'll say just long, but I don't know. We might see a laminated green card emerge from Molly Alvey. That ball, at least live from our angle, looked like it may have caught some red.
And it looked like it caught some hands there as well. That's a bad angle right there. If we had the first angle, it'd be a little bit easier to see. But you're going to get your bad calls here and there.
They are not going to use the card here. Right pin. That one's wide for the error. And that's back-to-back points for UCF.
And Fauska just trying to find some hands on that shot down the line, missing them just out of bounds.
Fisher. I think Thompson's goal was to have that ball hit off every night on the court.
Like a little pool table out there.
Everything but the 8 ball from Jordan Thompson. You see, she's really grown as a leader. One thing she couldn't do as a freshman was simply age, and that was something where her frame was going to fill out, be able to add muscle over the course of 4+ years as a student athlete with the great training facilities on campus that both these schools have. But she has really physically grown as well as mentally grown into a complete player.
Yeah, she's been spending a ton of time with the U.S. women's national team as well, and that's just helping her game.
UCF hanging on to the advantage. As again, Kuchmaner, your libero, with the service error. Well, you lose Pringle. It's nice to know you have a transfer coming in with some experience, the graduate transfer from NC State out of the ACC. At the point here for the Bearcats, serve from Fauska.
And the liberos these days have really been a very integral part of every team. I mean, they're almost like the leaders as well. They're getting to be that part because they're on the court so often. They're only not on it for one play.
This is Drezi Pass, another freshman, as both these teams have tapped into Minnesota. The Bearcats will take that one.
Adria Oliver here on the slide, hitting this nice cut shot, if you will, almost inside the block and down, just out of the reach of UCF.
So Bearcats have erased the early deficit. Serve here from Thompson. Set from Pass.
Great dig in the back row there.
Thompson back row. And with Thompson back there, trying to pick on that front row of the Bearcats and successful with the kill. It's Lachey Harper.
We haven't heard much from Lachey Harper this game, but boy, she's letting her name be known right there.
This has been a breakthrough. Otherwise, redshirt junior campaign for her has been really explosive. Back and forth here in this second set after Cincinnati took the first frame, 25-19. We are level at 5 here.
And that last hit by Maria Malum down the line, nobody's there down the line.
Here's Connor, the sophomore out of Centerville, Ohio. An in-state fine for Coach Alvey. Went diving for that one, could not get the open hand underneath it.
Boy, and that was one that Cincinnati probably wants back. It looked like Christina Fisher was really telegraphing that from a long time. You could tell from right down there she's going to tip this ball over, and Cincinnati was just a little bit late to react to that.
Thompson. Boys, UCF was in position, they were ready, and yet still Thompson too much.
Yeah, Thompson, it looks like this was a little bit outside from back row, a little bit outside the pipe, kind of like a seam, if you will, and then she's just finding the seam in between the UCF defense.
She's not looking for wide open spaces, though. She's trying to split a couple defenders back there. And a nice confident swing from Fisher.
That's what you like to see. First things first, Fisher had to pass that ball, make sure everybody's involved in the play. Set gets set outside, and Fisher just terminates.
So back to Erin Olsen, who for a second straight year gets to call her sister a teammate. Amber, a sophomore this year.
I think we have a couple sets of sisters on the team.
Bearcats able to find the court. It's just such a unique chemistry.
That would be a tough one.
And service there.
I don't know if my brother were on the same team and in the same position. I don't know that we'd be buddies. Might be different for girls.
Well, we were told they can be more frank with one another and motivate one another without perhaps taking it as personally as you might from someone you haven't known your whole life.
That's definitely a positive in that situation.
And nice communication on that back row as that one long. Well, very little separation for either team in this second set now. At the moment, level at 8. And it's back to the libero with the serve and Kuchmaner. Four years in Raleigh, North Carolina. Wrapping up her career in Orlando. Not a bad choice.
Not a bad choice at all. And Jordan Thompson here just rattling this one through the block of UCF. Just not getting together and finding the open space.
She found the left hand of Watson and the right hand of the middle blocker in Harper. That time trying to dial up Fisher. Great effort from Connor. But so often than not, the punctuation on the point is courtesy of 23.
This play started with a great dig by Connor here. Keep that ball alive out in front of her. Nice little set outside to you-know-who. Thompson puts it down for the point.
I think Todd Dagenet at UCF had the right perspective. Even if she gets 40 kills, Bearcats are going to need more than 40 points to beat you, home or away. And so it's a matter of not even limiting Thompson. She's going to get hers. It's a matter of what you allow elsewhere.
Yeah, and you got to keep your key on those other players as well and keep them down.
Pass. Thompson denied that time by Harper. Harper again, double dips. And the Knights will take that point.
Yeah, it's a great block by UCF right here. And Thompson on this second one, really not getting a full approach on it. Kind of started a little bit early, had to stop, and then that didn't allow her to jump as high and try and get it through the block.
Jordan Thompson bounces back.
Yeah, I'd probably bounce back after I got blocked that next one too. That's a serious angle she just hit right there. She's probably one of those players you don't want to upset, and then they just start playing.
But even if you upset her, she's going to smile right in your face.
That's what makes it even worse.
So many similarities to that other guy who wore red and black in a city that starts with a C for a team that starts with a B. Wore 23. Just doesn't have the tongue wag. Opportunity here for the Bearcats to find that 12th point. Couldn't put it away. And of all the touches to put it away, it's Oliver on that right pin.
And Oliver, this slide seems to be really working with Oliver. Timing's perfect. She just finds a little open space. Maybe not the greatest attack, but just finding that right hand that's just a little bit off the net and down in between for a point.
And that one bit the hand of Melville, the former freshman of the year in this conference. Would be an All-American as well. Melville has her own experience with USA Volleyball, also a Minnesota product, just like Thompson on the other side of the net. Connor able to get under that offering from Melville. UCF will win the net here.
Yeah, Maria Malum, the rare hitting error, not getting that ball over the net. That might be her first hitting error of the evening.
You and I, throughout the broadcast, are going to say night, evening, just out of habit. We're mindful that the moment we walk out the doors of the arena, we're going to be blinded by the sun for several more hours.
I might have to go get some lunch about that time.
And no official challenge. Ollie Alvey just talking to our down official. Serve from Melville. And double hit. Those double hits, again, were adding up last year. And that's when it can start creeping to your mind. Hasn't really been an epidemic here in this matchup.
They had a few. UCF had a few in the first set. And now the tides have turned a little bit. They had a couple on the Cincinnati side as well.
Not sure if we've mentioned Jordan Thompson yet.
Nope. Jordan Thompson, again, out of the back row, kind of pushing the libero out of the way, saying, excuse me, incoming here.
Air traffic control just picked up something on their radar. This one tight. The Knights able to put it away. Mackenzie Chambers, the freshman out of Dallas. Her name finally being called.
That was a great turn down the right, down the line from the right side. That's really a hard ball to hit. People really don't understand that.
Harper had both feet anchored down on that serve, and the let serve just rolls right off the edge of the table to keep her behind the line. That's going to prompt a timeout, or pardon me, our break with UCF, the first of 15 points. Again, we go back to your American standings with the two divisions. Tulane, Tulsa, Houston will eventually get some separation out west. And we'll be down to just one unbeaten. One team improving to 3-0 by this afternoon here in the East between Cincinnati and UCF. Of course, the Bulls of USF will be headed their way up to Cincinnati soon enough as well. These were the top two teams last year with high expectations this year as well. For UCF, it's because of all the numbers they return. And for the Bearcats, it's any time you return the number 23.
And that's true. That's a blessing, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the team after this.
But that huddle right there is so much more than Jordan, who's on the edge. If you are setting as a Bearcat, you do have a great plan B, plan C, plenty of options available to you.
Definitely have plenty of options. I mean, Maria Malum, I've been very impressed with tonight. She is just hammering the ball from the left, from the right. She's blocking. Not too hard to go somewhere else, that's for sure.
Jordan Thompson had 7 kills in the first set. She's already matched that here in set 2. A total of 14 kills from Thompson, hitting .440. Maria Malum even better, hitting .545 on her 7 kills. But it's the Knights right now. A service error, still hanging on to a 1-point lead.
And that's the kind of service error that just, makes the coach cringe after a timeout. Back when I played in high school, you miss a serve after a timeout for game point or match point, you get pulled out of the game, period.
Just the second service miscue so far for UCF. But will it prove to be a costly one? And they go back to the Dallas native.
Mackenzie Chambers here again, hitting down the line from the right side off the block. She loves that shot, the kind of the look away, if you will.
So 16-14 now for UCF, back up by a pair, and we're back to Erin Olsen, the elder of the sisters. And another one gifted over to University of Cincinnati.
Back-to-back service errors. That's another thing that the coach doesn't like to see either. So hopefully the next person going back is going to serve underhand and get that ball over the net.
Thompson's back up front for the Bearcats. They'll go away from her, unlike her teammates who are willing to get her involved.
Thompson on a tight set right here. This is where the height and the reach comes in. It comes into play. She's just real tight but high off the block and down for a point.
Muscles it past the two blockers, anchored by Watson. And just like that, we are level 16 all, but Knights are not going to allow themselves to slip into a deficit as they put a halt to the comeback.
And Watson on the right side here, just finding a little space in between the Cincinnati block and down for a point.
And Watson's one of your rare Florida natives on this Knights roster. Good look at Fauska.
Fauska from the right side here, a little angle just in between the two. She's trying to hit that ball down the line, but found some space in between the block.
She's been a phenomenal blocker, but that time able to put it away. A great second set. Neither team is led by more than a couple, as the Bearcats again find that red court. Jordan Thompson. Serve for Kirsten Ficker. Been a pleasant surprise this year. Really under the radar probably for most scouting reports from opponents. But she's been, as a freshman, someone who's willing to be vocal and demand a lot of her teammates. Something that some players aren't comfortable doing until they're one of the elder statesmen. She'll see her serve those slip away as UCF again has this level at 18. How critical are these late points for UCF? You could go from either going into that third set even one apiece or being down and facing a sweep here on the road.
And this is where the mental part of the game really sets in. You know, we're tied up at 18 right now. We got 19-18. It's every single point for these next few points. It's a back and forth thing, but if one team gets on a roll, it's all over.
A great effort. One more touch to get it back over. And the Knights finally had enough. We're even again at 19.
And Melville hitting outside on this last point right here. Just finding enough space in between the block. Put this ball down for a point.
An ace. Fifth ace for UCF here in these first two sets. As Dresdy Pass fighting off a little smile.
I meant to do that.
Yeah. No, ma'am. Lachey Harper is having herself a day at middle blocker.
Boy, Lachey Harper right here, really taking the angle shot away from Thompson. Thompson really had nowhere to go on here, trying to hit it really hard angle, but boy, Lachey just putting her left hand over and really reaching into that angle.
And I'm guessing even if we looked at the replay, Harper kept her eyes open on those blocks.
Sure they did. It's just like, it's interesting because when I first got to college, when I was blocking, I would close my eyes quite a bit because you never know when you're going to get hit. But, you know, that's what you don't do. You got to keep your eyes open and you got to be able to really read what the hitter's doing, read their shoulders. It definitely helps a lot.
Another look. Again, Harper contesting the All-American. Well, I think you were onto something this week when we were talking to both coaches. Cincinnati has the benefit of this being a home match up front. If they can survive on their home floor, you have a win in your back pocket when you go to Orlando later this year. and you know what adjustments still need to be made in that meeting. Conversely, I think Todd Dagenais also feels good about this arrangement. If they can come on the road, maybe steal a win, then all of a sudden they're defending their home court in round 2.
And I would agree with you 100%. When you're playing a team like this at home, like Cincinnati, if Cincinnati can pull this one off, I think they've got a little bit of an edge when they play again down at UCF. But like you said, UCF's going to be ready and prepared for that as well.
See, Coach Dagenais hasn't relinquished all of his duties to his trusted staff as he helps get the serve organized. Battle at the net. And right now that net belongs to Lachey Harper.
And UCF right now, they've been on a 3-point spread. And like I said earlier, when you get to this tight action at 19-all, 18-all, you know, it could go back and forth, or one team could start pulling away, and then it's all downhill from there. And that looks like what UCF is doing right now.
A run for the Knights has them up by 3. Thompson, a little hook shot. Too much to ask for. Cincinnati finally finds that elusive 20th point.
That's a good way to stop the bleeding right there. As this is kind of a little bit of a broken play at the net. Kind of, I don't want to hit somebody, you know, step on somebody right there, but lucky for Cincinnati to get that point and get into the 20 range.
Heckenmuller will step off. One of your setters comes off. Thompson trying to spark a rally here in the late points from the service line.
Great dig in the back row.
Hunter keeps that service alive, at least for now.
Another one.
Cincinnati could not pounce on that opportunity. Does this one go long? No, they say it's in.
Yeah, that definitely was in, and that's an unfortunate happy birthday ball that did not go Cincinnati's way by any means. Chambers just from the right side finding what we call the coffin corner.
Great look by our crew. 23-20. 2 points away from leveling it at 1 set apiece. They're going to have to wait a little longer.
And when it gets tight down to the end, you know who you're going to. So the other team is ready. Just couldn't handle that one in the back row.
Oh, we saw Connor flying all over the court, the sophomore libero, to keep points alive. Can she get it done with her serve?
This is a key point right here for Cincinnati.
She has Thompson on the back row with her, along with Fauska. Jordan Thompson. But there's still work to be done for Cincinnati here in set number 2.
That was a key point to get right there, and even in the back, even out of the back row here, Thompson, she's 15 feet off the back line there, putting that ball down away.
UCF's problem is they only brought 3 to the net.
And they've got 3 in the back row, and they still couldn't get it up.
So it's UCF calling the timeout here. They've seen their lead dwindle to 1, and Todd Dagenais is trying to tap the brakes on the momentum here for the Bearcats.
Well, and what they need to do right now is just come out and pass this one ball. You make a pass, things happen.
It's not a must-win set for UCF, but it's a must-win set for UCF.
It would definitely be a tough one to come back from down 2 at Cincinnati. Not to say that it hasn't been done before, but it doesn't make it easy.
Cincinnati led essentially the entire way in that opening frame. UCF and Cincinnati have been back and forth, with UCF at times the slight edge.
There's some students.
Yeah, great to see support from other teams.
They're done with their 8 a.m. class, showing up.
Well, some of these players, of course, room and house with non-volleyball players. So when those alarms went off a little extra early today, you figure everybody, whether they wanted to or not, woke up a bit earlier. Connor continues her serve.
Another key point right here for Cincinnati. If they can get this point, really puts the pressure on UCF.
A safe serve here. Set point coming up for UCF.
Chambers, I think that's 4 in a row from the right side there, just putting the ball down. Three on the line shot, as she did kind of right here in between the block. And again, angle the last 2 times.
She has come on strong, that time splitting Malin and Charbakaba. Mary-Kate Painter, the closer. It's long. UCF will take set. No, they get a touch at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And I think you would consider using that laminated green card just for the hope that perhaps you've put this set away. They're going to give a fingertip touch there.
Yeah, that's definitely off her finger.
Off of Chambers, and she's not debating it. We play on. It is still set point with any kind of miscue from Cincinnati.
Oh.
Into the block. Again, Connor keeps a point alive.
What a great rally here.
Thompson finally gets her touch, but it's going to be another touch. Kill for Thompson. And all of a sudden, set point is off the table. We're headed to extra points.
Yeah, there's some great defense there, and it really makes it nice knowing as a hitter that when you go up there and you hit into that block that your teammates are covering you. And Connor did a great job there to keep that ball alive, and now we're tied up at 24.
In that rally, there was one Bearcat who noticeably had not had a go at the ball until finally Thompson put it away. Again, no longer set point. That into the block. Cincinnati will serve for set point for the first time in set number 2.
And Maria Malum hitting this ball down the line, just off the block of UCF, down for a point.
Well, they were ready to celebrate here in Cincinnati. A miscue on the back row. They'll recover. And the Bearcats are firmly in the driver's seat. They overcome set point not once but twice. And on their first opportunity in extra points, the Bearcats now take the first 2 frames. Jordan Thompson already a 21 kill afternoon. Bearcats looking for the sweep when we return.
Undeniable. Undeniable.
Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
dominance for a fourth straight year. Quaso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Welcome into the ADN studio for a quick look at the Americans' top Olympic sports headlines. I'm Haley Outen. In men's soccer, SMU has achieved the highest ranking for an American men's soccer team since 2013, when UConn was ranked in the top 5. This week, the Mustangs come in at number 4 in the United Soccer Coaches Poll and number 2 in Top Drawer Soccer. On the women's side, in a battle of top 25 teams on Sunday, Memphis defeated USF 2-1 on the American Digital Network. 2 goals from Claire Avery led the Tiger offense, and with the win, Memphis moved up to number 9 in the United Soccer Coaches National Rankings. In volleyball, Jordan Thompson became Cincinnati's career leader in kills by passing former Bearcat great Julie DuPont's prior record of 2,137. While over at Tulsa, Taylor Horsfall had another stellar weekend on the defensive front. Horsfall posted the top defensive performance of the season for any conference player by tallying 38 digs in a 5-set win against Wichita State. Horsfall was named the Defensive Player of the Week for her efforts for the second time this year. To follow along with the top storylines from around the American, you can head to theamerican.org or follow on Twitter at American_Conf.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
Lots of talk about innovation. We're over it. Time to do something. What's next? Let's build this team, launch this place, find this fix, and electrify this entire community. This is Cincinnati. And guess what?
Next loop's here.
Well, UCF in a 2-set hole right now on the road on this afternoon in Cincinnati. We welcome you back here on the American Digital Network. Lean Rose, Adam Johnson, AJ. Neither one of those convincing sets for the Bearcats. So, again, UCF has been just about level with their opposition, but you know the way the sport goes. All of a sudden, 2 sets in the back pocket of the Bearcats are looking to sweep you out of their house.
Well, especially that last set. I mean, they were down. They were down 2 set points to come back and win. That really takes the sail out of UCF's, sails, if you will, or the wind out of their sails, excuse me.
We'll hope to have a chance to get UCF's thoughts in just a moment, but again, they did see that second set slip away. Todd Dagenais is kind enough to join. Betsy, we'll toss down to Betsy here as, go ahead.
Well, Coach, big comeback there at the end of that second. What adjustments are you going to make next set?
I just think we have to worry about the opponent on our side of the net right now. We came out, I thought we were a little lethargic in the first set, allowed them that lead. We played them pretty much point for point from there on out. I said it was going to be an offensive battle. You look at the numbers, it's offensive all the way through.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, again, both of these coaches very comfortable in their own skin and their own capabilities as a coach, as well as their student athletes. It often is between the 2 ears. And as long as you can take care of business, take care of your job, don't even worry about your teammates' job, you're going to be able to get the job done. Now, here's 2 championship caliber teams going at it, and Cincinnati's done just enough in those first 2 sets.
And again, especially in the last part of that set, to be able to come out with being up 2 sets right now for Cincinnati, they're definitely in the driver's seat.
Again, both these coaches such great ambassadors for the game as well as their schools. Appreciate Coach Dagenais's time there. So they'll call that one just out. An error gives the Bearcats the early advantage. 25-19, 26-24, the way the first 2 sets fell for Cincinnati. UCF had a couple of chances with set point there in that second frame.
it'd definitely be a different ball game if UCF takes that second set.
Again, these two teams went 5 sets twice last year. I don't think either of us would have pegged this for a short day.
Well, and we don't hope that or wish that upon anybody, but in this situation right now, you know, UCF is a little down because they know they had it. They had a chance to make it go longer.
You know, on the phone call, hope I'm not stepping on Betsy's toes, she had a great question because both these teams have been sweeping their way through opponents, and she asked, well, what do you tell them for that third set to not take their foot off the pedal? And I believe it was Todd Dagenais that said, I don't even mention it. You know, I'm still telling them, go out there, respect that opponent. You're playing the match. I don't even, his analogy was, if you tell someone don't think about the pink elephant in the room, what's the first thing you think about?
The pink elephant.
Yeah. So they are treating this just like any other marathon to 25 points.
And it's just like, you know, that's a great analogy. And, you know, if I'll take it a step further, when I was playing with Karch Karai, and we both had the mentality of this next pass or serve or whatever it is that we're working on right at that moment.
They have split the first 4 points here in this third set. Obviously, the Bearcats with the insurance right now in their back pocket of being up 2-0. And that ball, though the effort was there for UCF, is going to drop wide onto the black paint.
Cooch Manor right here with another late day pancake, just going out of bounds. Not by much.
And not cheated on that serve, Mallon. It'll be a short-lived service.
Moravec out of the middle there for UCF. Finding some space and in front of the Cincinnati defense for a point.
Frankly, they were that loose even when they hadn't won a set yet today.
That is true.
That is not an assumption they're going to win, but that is just an approach to being competitors of staying loose.
Thompson continues to stay loose on the outside, getting a tight set, but being able to deal with it with her height. Hits that ball out of bounds off the block.
Think she's ever been lobbying to put on that libero top for a match?
I did that once with one of our middle blockers. You know, she was 6'1", and people were laughing because they're like, oh, how can you put a 6'1" as a libero? And I'm like, she passes as well as a libero. She's taller and longer, so she's covering more court. And they're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense.
How dare you break the mold? Just like each of our sets so far, a tight one here could easily go either way. The difference is if this one goes the way of the Bearcats, they're 3-0. Handing UCF their first loss in conference play. These are the first sets that UCF has dropped here in conference play. Something had to give. And again, that had little to do with what the Bearcats did on their side of the net and more to what Todd Dagenais was talking about, the opponent standing on your own side.
Yeah. Cooch Manor there, just not getting to the ball enough, forcing it into the net.
There's a discussion at the table. It's not so much confusion here for Cincinnati. They're just utilizing the time to talk things over.
If this was club volleyball, everybody would be yelling and screaming at the scorekeeper. What are you doing? Let's go.
some may be screaming quietly.
Or you could start screaming out loud right now. Be interesting to see what comes of this. I'm not sure if there's a point, if there was out of rotation.
It remains 6-4 Cincinnati following the ace from Cooch Manor. Thompson, little give and go, and an error for Thompson, a rare one today.
It's interesting that, yeah, it is a rare error for Thompson, and that was from the right side. We haven't really seen her attacking the ball from the right side. Maybe she's just not used to it this late in the game.
Variety, the spice of life. 22 kills for Thompson. She was hitting 500 before that miscue, and there's number 23 for number 23.
That's a perfect, I mean, that is a perfect time to throw out a tip shot, because she's been hitting all night. Everybody's dug in for her to throw that little tip out right in the middle of the defense there. Perfect timing.
She and Maria Mallon both in double digits for the Bearcats. Mallon 10 kills, just one error, is hitting 500.
One error, that's awesome. That was the one that just didn't quite get over the net, but stuff happens.
Thompson, a great serve, but just as nice of a response from Cooch Manor on the serve receive. Not a liability on that back row. And they will keep her on that back row serving. The kill from Mallon, number 11.
I really like Maria Mallon out there. She's fiery for a 5'9" outside hitter. She's putting some heat on the ball, putting the ball down, as we see here, right down the line. Nobody's going to pick that ball up.
Let's serve, carries over. Back to Mallon. Excellent job keeping it playable for the Knights. Thompson got the touch.
Cincinnati really just moving the ball around. Heckenmuller just having a heyday. Can pretty much set anything, and it's going down.
Thompson with the dig on that last rally. Now a double-double. And an ace for JT.
And I've just been noticing that Cooch Manor is having a little trouble. That's her fourth, well, that's a first ace right there, or second actually, and two other what we call one passes, which means you can only set one person. So she's struggling right now.
Well, it's the earliest timeout used by either coach today, but understandably so. UCF now down by 4, about as large of a deficit as either team has faced in this back-to-forth match, and pardon me, 10-5. And obviously this is a must-win set, as would a 4th and 5th set as well be for the Knights.
Yeah, and it's, you know, UCF is definitely down after that second set loss right there. They felt that one really got away from them. They had an opportunity, and it was kind of just taken away from them. And they need to really start focusing mentally on how to get back into this match. And it can turn around. If they can just get this next set, things can happen.
UCF calling that timeout. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, again, Heckenmuller's been nationally among the top 10 setters, just inside 14 assists per set. She already has 40 assists today. Again, 24 of those terminated by that woman right there. Another 11 kills from Mallon. Thompson with the double-double with 10 digs. We've seen Connor with 12 digs, staying active with that red top. And they are still dancing in Cincy. Just off the mark from another ace from Thompson.
Cooch Manor was going right after that ball too, decided to let it go.
Coming out of a timeout, that takes a lot of guts and confidence that you know where you are on that floor Otherwise, you're talking about 11-5.
Exactly, and that's why they're playing in this Division I league level.
So Connor back to serve. Bearcats just a couple of aces today. And Thompson just couldn't handle it on that back row.
Yeah, she actually looked like she got to her spot way too early for this, and kind of caught her off guard a little bit, falling down off the block, actually. And
yeah, it was less about Thompson and more about the deflection that ball took off the right hand up at the net. Olsen continues her serve.
Ooh.
And the double hit there, ultimately against Heckenmuller.
Sometimes you have to take a chance on those. Heckenmuller really falling away from that set opportunity right there, trying to get that to Thompson in the pipe area. Some great defense right here. Just a little unfortunate.
This year's regular season champion will be hosting next year's conference tournament. But again, we already know the conference tournament this year will be in Orlando. And I say that technically the champion is given the rights to host it. There will be years you could envision where they don't actually take advantage of that due to just scheduling conflicts with venues. It's unfortunate. I don't see that for UCF being an issue, again, because they're dedicated facility. But
yeah, I didn't think of it. I didn't think about it that way. That's for sure.
But basketball happens to be kind of a big deal in these parts, and you can see how a scheduling conflict could arise.
I mean, who wouldn't want their, if you're in your conference playoff, who wouldn't want it at your home court? That's for sure.
These two teams will meet in Orlando on November 10th for a Sunday matchup. That'll be the second regular season meeting, and then again, Cincinnati will go back to Orlando that next week for the inaugural tournament. We are assuming they qualify. Cincinnati right now 3 points up on UCF. And service error will finally give it back over to the red and black. You know, we talk about Heckenmuller running this offense for Cincinnati, that talented setter. She comes from the powerhouse from Cincinnati over there at Mount Notre Dame. And she never had to get adjusted to the 6'2". It's a system that she was already running in high school. She had great hands. Finally found her opportunity as a freshman in that 5-setter against Florida State when the young woman starting ahead of her went down with an injury the prior match. And Heckenmuller shined early and often. Thompson into that block, and this will carry out one.
Mallon right there almost was able to pick that block up.
UCF was seeing this one slip away. Back within 4. And the serve back with Cooch Manor. As Fauska on the right pin. Unable to secure the point. UCF's put a couple together. And just a good old-fashioned timeout for Cincinnati. Molly Alvey would love to close it out in set 3 and not leave this one to chance with a 4th set and then somehow a sprint to 15 in a 5th set if UCF could get there.
It's kind of an interesting timeout for Coach Alvey. She must have seen something out there that she didn't like and wanted to make sure she communicated that to her team.
You know, again, Cincinnati was on the losing end of those 5-setters last year against UCF, and she even pointed to the fact that in one of those matches, all match long, they had been a little bit too reliant on Jordan Thompson, and you can't all of a sudden then say in the last few critical points in the 5th set to now go away from Jordan. But they try to set that tone early in a match to get that distribution all around.
Yeah, and I think if you do that exactly what you said towards the end of the match when someone else hasn't been getting set, they're not really thinking they're going to get set, and they make their errors.
Let's check back in with Betsy.
Well, you talked about this being a very important set for UCF. It has been 694 days that they have had an unbeaten win streak here in the conference. 26 conference wins. Of course, they went undefeated in the conference last season. So this is something that's very different for UCF. And as you mentioned, it's not just this set that's going to be important, but the next two, if they can keep that streak going.
Yeah, Betsy, and Todd Dagenet realizes this is not your season right here. They will fight and try to force 5 sets and leave Cincinnati with a comeback victory, but they're up against Jordan Thompson and a very talented Bearcats group year in, year out. But this is something that he'll be able to point to and really continue to teach his players throughout this season.
And that's, you know, and again, having this match played so early in the season really helps both teams find out what they need to play against teams of their caliber.
Everything they put out on the table as a goal to accomplish this year will still be within reach after today. Again, last year took that automatic bid out of the conference, but fell in 5 sets in the first round of the NCAA tournament after they were down a setter, and that's a tough adjustment for a 6-2 to make when you only have 1 setter.
It's kind of like in football these days when you have one quarterback that plays when it's 77-0, but he goes down the next game, you know, is the backup ready?
Thompson. The only thing that she hasn't sprinkled in a better variety of is how to give high fives to her teammates.
They've got to jump pretty high to get up there.
We've seen a kill from every angle, but it's pretty much the same. Congratulations. Left pin into the block as helping shut things down, Adria Oliver. And they are excited about how she'll continue to grow these next couple of years, just a sophomore.
Yeah, McKenna Melville just finding the outside block and out of bounds for a point, UCF.
Eckenmuller in on that tandem as well. Off balance, still sends it down the line to Thompson.
I have no idea how that got over the net.
This one into the net.
Well, that's error number 2 for Mallon.
I remember where you were.
What was she thinking? I don't think I've ever been through either 2 games without having 2 errors.
We've seen a couple of those now here in this 3rd set. Cross-court shot, easy angle, getting on top of the ball, sending it down in a hurry.
And this is a nice angle. She's got this angle shot down, and Cooch Manor's right there, just couldn't get her hands up quick enough.
An ace for Jordan. 4th ace for the Bearcats.
And Jordan, with her height and her arms, hits his ball really low over the net. And that thing is what we call a knuckleball, and it's a float serve. We call it a knuckleball.
And she and Mallon both with doubles today. McKenna Melville is your leader for UCF with 10 kills. Jordan Thompson has a modest 27 right now. Well, here is a young woman who's been a bright spot at that net, Lachey Harper. Now she'll try to rattle off a run here with the service. As the violation on the Bearcats will keep this
That was a perfect opportunity for Heckenmuller right there. Unfortunately, she just followed through with that shot, just touching the net. Point goes to UCF.
Now, Todd Dagenet thinks this is a critical run, so Harper, even though they win that point, they pull her out mid-serve, and Mary Kate Painter, who came on late with set point available in set 2, comes on to serve here, but the Bearcats will break it. Side out.
And Mallon down the line again. This might be her favorite shot right here. Almost took the head off of Olsen right there.
Yeah, if press-on fingernails are still a thing, there might be a few missing. Deja vu.
Yeah, I'm really liking this play of Maria Mallon today. Just a fiery person. Looks like she has nothing but positive thoughts going through her mind.
Connor. This is a cushion right here. Bearcats like to be able to maintain and sail to that 3-set sweep. And nobody feels worse about that than Jordan Thompson, who immediately wanted to sprint across the other side of the court. Well, we talk about being the face of a program.
Well, as E.T. would say, ouch. Oof.
And perhaps lost track of that ball with the 3 blockers up front.
And that ball's coming fast. Might have been out of bounds to where she's standing on the court. Hit her that high up in the face.
In Jordan's first instinct, you can only imagine what it was like going up against Thompson in club ball, when she even had that much more of an advantage in her length and her power. That's going to make the eyes a little watery. Fortunately, don't see any blood from the nose for Melville.
She seems like a tough cookie out there.
It's Minnesota on Minnesota crime right there. And her teammates pick her up as Moravec puts it away.
Well, the great thing that we're not even looking at that play right there is after getting hit in the face, she comes back with a perfect pass. It's almost like nothing happened.
Back to Olsen. Again, she and her sister Amber out of Cary, Illinois. Younger sis is 3 inches taller. Right down the line. Mallon again improving on her double-double today.
Mallon again, I don't know. She's had a ton of kills down the line. I'm not sure why UCF hasn't made that adjustment to take that line away from her and really make her hit back into the angle.
I mean, Thompson's hitting 478, Mallon's hitting 464 now. The team 380 collectively for the match. And everything going the way of Cincinnati in a closeout set 3. Fauska with the kill.
Fauska with a little smile as she hits that ball down the line.
I have to imagine a few of Jordan's teammates can relate from practices going up against Thompson. Fisher fires over. Connor on the serve receive. And a whistle will put an end to this point prematurely on the double hit. That gives Cincinnati a critical point here. They need to find a run right here, right now. Next point for the Bearcats, tees them up for match point.
Great dig.
Heckenmuller was able to get underneath it, into the block. It is set point in set 3, and with a 2-set lead, that means match point for Cincinnati. It is still match point, and it will be for several points to come with this cushion right here for the Bearcats, but they would have liked to put it away on their first try.
You never want to miss match point serve. I had flashbacks. I just got taken out of the game.
Cooch Manor looking for the rally of all rallies. This match still alive. It is long. They played a combined 10 sets in 2 matches a year ago. Each time the 5-set victory for UCF, but not in 2019. The Bearcats on their home court, well, they answer the call. A 3-set sweep against UCF. These two teams will see each other again mid-November and late November, presumably. We'll have our chance in a moment to catch up with the victorious Bearcats. Again, Todd Dagenais will keep this in perspective. They will quickly shift their attention to their next matchup on the horizon, as they will see the Bulls on Sunday of USF. Let's check in with Betsy. She's with victorious head coach Molly Alvey.
Well, Coach, you jumped ahead in that first set, but I think more impressively came back in that second set to take it.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of composure against a team, I think, that does really well, whether they're ahead or behind. I think they always do a good job of keeping their composure. So made a couple little quick changes there at the end of that second set and kind of regrouped on our serving, and thought they did a great job of playing well together, all 6 people together.
Of course, Jordan was Jordan. Heckenmuller almost 50 assists in this one.
Yeah, I think it's easy for maybe Armania to be underestimated, but the kid can dish, and that's a show of that right there. And 50 assists in 3 sets is unbelievable. Unbelievable. She's doing a great job for us.
After last season, 2 very tough matches with this team, 5-set losses, it's got to feel good to have a 3-set win.
Yeah, it definitely does. And, you know, I think you learn a lot from those types of matches, especially 5-setters and when you're playing good competition. So great. You know, I think the biggest thing is regrouping and preparing for Sunday. You know, that'll be the biggest challenge moving forward.
Not too much time to celebrate. Got to turn right around and do it again. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring in Jordan Thompson. We talked about her. After we just mentioned to the coach, after losing twice to this team last season, got to feel good to come back.
Yeah, it feels really good. This is always a game we prepare for. You know, we prepare for every match with a lot of intention, but this is one that means a little bit more just because, you know, there are in-conference rivals, so it always feels really good to get a win against them.
Came very close to losing that second set. What did you do? What did the team do to really come back in that second set to take it?
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of trust within the team to have everybody make a play and just step up in the key moments, and I think we did a really good job of that.
2 very good teams, 2 very good players facing off against each other today. That's got to be something that is going to set you up for the rest of the conference.
Yeah, we're really excited. You know, in this conference, every game is really important, and so to have this win under our belt, you know, we're really happy about that.
Jordan, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Betsy, thank you again. Great to hear from Molly Alvey and Jordan Thompson after a very impressive win. It would have been one thing if it was a 5 or 4 setter, but convincing here today at home. An early start time, no problem. They can enjoy this one now with the rest of the student body.
Go get some lunch. It's right about lunchtime, so that's a good thing to have.
You heard Betsy mention it. 49 assists for Heckenmuller, while Jordan Thompson 28 kills, 13 digs, one of 2 double-doubles for the Bearcats today, as they remain perfect and still have not dropped a set in conference play. They'll host the USF Bulls on Sunday. For our entire ADN crew, Adam Johnson, Betsy Ross, I'm Lincoln Rose. Bearcats defend their home floor, a 3-set sweep of the Knights this afternoon.